Well, the only thing we really have for today is our usual monthly exercise of putting post-it notes on the wall, starting with outcomes, and then outputs, and then activities, and if possible, trying to put on the post-it note for Anna's benefit and ultimately everyone's benefit, the country that the thing concerns and the project, the 4-letter project code that the thing concerns, and then a brief description of what it was. Does anyone have any outcomes they would like to talk about? I'm happy to share a first one, and I want to get off on the right note of sharing what was a challenge. So it was one that Andrea and I worked on, and I've written outcome, Serbia housing failed Rule 39 request. We asked the European Court of Human Rights to tell the Serbian government to turn the power back on in a Romani community in Niš, where the power had been cut off following a very, very dodgy arrangement where the whole community has these collective meters, and the calculations are very dodgy about how they've paid or not. And the European Court wrote us back and said, not only are we not going to give you your Rule 39, but we didn't even show this to a judge, because we don't even think that this falls within the scope of the kinds of things that you should be writing to us about. So big sad face. So there was a challenge, and to balance it out with a positive outcome, we had 2 from Albania, both from the Equality Commissioner. One was that she made a positive finding on a complaint that we made on someone's behalf about a segregated second chance school, where all the pupils, or most of them, are Roma or Egyptian, and also made a positive finding about children in care institutions in Albania. Which are predominantly occupied again by Roma and Romani and Egyptian children, and she made very strong recommendations about desegregating those institutions and getting those kids back with their family members.
And maybe we can add also that our third-party intervention to Latifi failed.
Oh, yes.
Because we were rejected from the court to have a third-party intervention. It's a case about subsidiary protection of Roma from Kosovo that came after the conflict in 1991 in Macedonia, 1999. And in the last 6 years, there is a trend that they are revoked by the subsidiary protection by the pretext that they are security reasons, threat to Macedonia. And we had a case of a woman that experienced these things, and we wanted to intervene in order to prove that this is a discriminatory practice. This doesn't happen to Roma only by chance. And we were rejected by the court. So,
I suppose an interim outcome. I mean, we met with the European Commission and gave them a briefing on school segregation in the Czech Republic. It was a timely briefing because the Commission is moving to the second stage of infringement, and they had received, unlike Slovakia and Hungary, the Czech government is more conciliatory in its wording, has drawn up educational reforms and gives the appearance of acting in good faith. So together with Czech colleagues, we presented, perverse judicial misreadings of the European Court of Human Rights judgment, utter lack of capacity, beyond the well-intended Minister for Education, a lack of capacity at national and regional level to actually bring about school desegregation, and very timely, detailed things of clear discriminatory practices in specific schools by municipalities. So it was an effective, from the response we got from the Commission, it was an effective counter to the sort of positive picture being presented by the Czechs. Plus we had the data to show that the same number of kids are going to segregated schools 10 years on. Now, since the reform, there has been no impact in recent moves. So it was a useful corrective. As to it being a permanent outcome, we'll see if, because it's the political calculations are such that if the Commission then moves to continue the infringement, we can say this will be an outcome. But the interim outcome is that they were briefed and they were very grateful that they had this information.
Great. So in January we submitted 2 project applications. One was for the US government and another one was for European Commission on Ukraine. The second is just a concept project, and the first is a full developed application with a partner. The first one was sort of challenging, working with partners on a short deadline after the holidays. And one of the things that we learned, I think, is that when we do our fundraising strategy, one of the things that we will have to know and build criteria is like who can actually be our partner.
Okay, on the operational side, about a month and a half we've been negotiating with Telecom, our mobile service provider, and we've come to a draft contract now. This is activity, but I tell you about the expected outcomes at the same time. Expected outcomes are that our local phone rates will decrease by 50%, our international rates will get a further discount of 10%, so now we have 30, in the future it will be 40, and we will get about 450,000 forints present to spend on upgrading phones. So I would expect these Nokias to disappear from the office shortly, and most of you will at minimum have a basic smartphone.
Anna was very good at focusing on a challenge in the outcomes, but there was also a positive outcome that she was very heavily involved in, along with some other people, which was that the UN CDOC committee issued another interim measure to the Macedonian government to house and provide care for more of the women who were evicted in the August 2016 polygon eviction.
Among which one of the women, she already gave a birth. It was including her and her baby, her newborn. So it's something totally new that we managed to push. And another thing, maybe you read about the recent case in Macedonia for racist graffiti at the walls and doors of a primary school. The good thing is that they removed the school, we managed to pressure the school to remove the graffiti because we sent a letter together with local NGOs, and also there is a criminal complaint that it's filed for unknown person because we still don't know who is the defendant.
Concerning evictions for Italy, actually, we sent a letter to Gian Turco. We almost immediately got a response from the mayor saying that they got our letter and they will review and they will answer, which has never happened to me so far. So it seems that they are taking us more seriously.
I see one of Judith's related outcomes up here, which was a positive decision from the equality body in Hungary about a complaint that we supported a woman to make after she was abused, racially abused while giving birth in a hospital here in Hungary.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
And the good thing is that up until now, it seems like that the hospital didn't appeal, so at least the equality body didn't get the appeal, so probably it's gonna be final.
But did they miss the deadline?
I mean, it seems like the deadline passed, and they were supposed to send it to the equality body, the appeal, and it hasn't happened yet. It is possible that they sent it to the court directly, that we don't know, but I hope that they just missed the deadline.
I mean, there's been a flurry of outputs I see from Serbia and Macedonia in relation to litigation matters. Several cases lodged against the Ministry of the Interior in Macedonia for discrimination resulting from police brutality, which is exciting. It's not possible everywhere in Europe to sue the police for discrimination, but in Macedonia it definitely is. So that's very cool. Some cases in Serbia before the Constitutional Court, including one about
Sorry, I lied about that one. It's an appeal, it's not a constitutional court.
No, but the one about the Valjevo, the boy who was slapped in the face by that innocent...
That's the end of December, but regarding the Niche families who were placed in an abandoned warehouse, that's a regular appeal to the higher court.
You can cross out Constitution.
But what happened with this boy who was playing the accordion and got slapped? What is there with that case?
So, in the end, the public prosecutor decided not to press criminal charges and not to prosecute the suspect. Instead, he applied this principle of opportunity. The guy paid 30,000 dinars, which is less than 300 euros, to charity.
We launched a petition against France in front of the UN Committee on the Rights of the Child, which is a relatively new individual complaints procedure at international UN level, arising out of one of the eviction cases that we've already taken to the European Court of Human Rights. We've had to be very fine about that, so it was the mother's case in the European Court of Human Rights and the children's case before the Committee on the Rights of the Child, because you can't take the same case to two different bodies. And that's potentially quite cool, because I don't think the CRC has delivered any decisions on individual complaints yet, because that mechanism only came into force at the beginning of, it's an amendment 2015.